Imagine checking into a private room at 40,000 feet, closing a floor-to-ceiling door behind you, changing into pajamas before the aircraft even leaves the gate, taking a hot shower somewhere over the Arabian Sea, then walking to a cocktail bar, ordering a glass of Dom Pérignon, and watching the sun rise over the Indian Ocean from a bar stool in the sky. Now imagine that most of the 500 people on the same aircraft have no idea any of this is happening above their heads. This is Emirates First Class. And by the end of this video, you will understand why it is not just the most luxurious airline product in the world. It is one of the most quietly radical things ever built into a commercial aircraft. Stay with me, because some of these details will completely change the way you think about what a flight can be. The first thing you need to understand is the architecture. The Airbus A380 has 2 full passenger decks running from nose to tail. Most people who fly on it spend the entire journey on the lower deck in economy or business class and never think about what is above them. But the upper deck of an Emirates A380 is where the product begins to separate itself from anything else in aviation. The entire upper deck is divided between business class at the rear and, at the very front, the first class cabin. And when you step into that cabin, the numbers tell you everything. There are 14 suites. That is the total. 14 private rooms on an aircraft that carries over 500 people. To put that in perspective, the lower deck of the same aircraft can be configured to hold more than 400 passengers. The upper deck first class cabin holds 14. One flight, 2 completely different experiences, separated by a staircase. Each of those 14 suites has a floor-to-ceiling privacy door. Not a curtain, not a partition, a door. It slides shut and seals the suite into a self-contained space. When it closes, the sounds of the cabin disappear. The movement of other passengers disappears. You are, functionally, alone. Inside the suite, the bed is fully flat, 6.5 feet long, with a real mattress, a real duvet, and a real pillow. Not a seat that reclines into a flat surface with a thin pad laid on top, which is what most airlines describe as a flat bed. A mattress, laid on a surface specifically designed to receive it. Emirates partnered with one of the world's leading bedding suppliers to engineer sleep at altitude, accounting for the lower humidity and cabin pressure that affects how the body rests in flight. Before the aircraft even pushes back from the gate, crew members arrive at each suite with Emirates-provided pajamas and slippers. Passengers change before takeoff. They board, settle in, and within minutes are dressed for sleep or relaxation rather than sitting in the clothes they travelled to the airport in. On a 14-hour overnight flight, this single detail changes the experience entirely. And every element of the suite, the lighting, the temperature, the entertainment system, is individually controlled per passenger. Not per cabin, per suite. The person in Suite 1 can have the lights dimmed to near darkness with the temperature at 18 degrees, while the person in Suite 2 reads under full light at 22 degrees. They are, in every meaningful sense, in different rooms. Now here is the detail that surprises almost everyone who hears it for the first time. At the front of the Emirates A380 upper deck, behind 2 unmarked doors, there are shower spas. Functioning showers, with hot water, on a commercial passenger aircraft. Emirates is the only airline in the world that offers this. Not the only airline with a premium product, not the only airline with a flat bed, the only airline on Earth, across all of commercial aviation, that has ever installed a working shower on a passenger aircraft and made it available to travelers in flight. There are 2 shower spas located at the very front of the upper deck, accessible only to first-class passengers. Each one is a fully tiled, fully equipped bathroom, not a wet room, not a glorified sink, with a rainfall showerhead, climate control, luxury toiletries, and a changing area with fresh towels and Emirates amenity products. But here is the engineering detail that makes it real. Water on an aircraft is not unlimited. The A380 carries approximately 500 litres of fresh water specifically to supply the shower spas. That volume is fixed. It cannot be refueled mid-flight, so each shower session is limited to 5 minutes of running water. 5 minutes sounds brief. In practice, the system is designed so that 5 minutes at altitude delivers a full, satisfying shower experience. The water pressure and temperature are calibrated specifically for the environment. Between each use, a dedicated shower attendant enters the spa, removes all used towels and products, restocks everything from scratch, and prepares the space for the next passenger. You never enter a shower that another passenger has used without it being fully reset. The standard is closer to a luxury hotel turn-down service than anything associated with aircraft cleaning. And because the water supply is finite and the demand across 14 suites can be significant on a long-haul flight, shower appointments must be booked in advance through the cabin crew. On popular routes, Dubai to London, Dubai to New York, Dubai to Sydney, the spa books out. Passengers who want a shower learn quickly to request their slot shortly after takeoff. Think about what this means for a moment. You are in a metal tube traveling at 900 kilometers per hour at an altitude of 12,000 meters, and you are booking a shower appointment. The gap between that experience and the experience of someone in row 42 below you is not a gap of degree. It is a gap of category. Behind the first-class cabin, there is a bar. Not a service trolley, not a cart that passes through the aisle once every few hours. A bar. With a counter, bar stools, ambient lighting, a staffed crew member who takes your order, and over 50 drink options. On an aircraft, the Emirates onboard bar and lounge sits directly behind the first-class suites on the upper deck. Passengers can leave their private suite, walk to the bar, sit down, and socialize at 40,000 feet. The bar is stocked with Dom Pérignon champagne, Hennessy cognac, a curated wine list, cocktails, spirits, soft drinks, and non-alcoholic options. More than 50 choices in total. On certain routes, the bar experience goes further. A dedicated onboard chef, not a crew member reheating pre-packaged food, but a chef, prepares dishes to order at the bar. You can sit on a bar stool above the clouds and request a freshly prepared meal. The distinction between that and the pre-plated meals of conventional airline catering is the same distinction between a restaurant and a vending machine. The psychological effect of the bar is worth understanding separately from the product itself. On a long-haul flight, one of the most disorienting things about economy and even business class is the enforced passivity. You sit, you wait. You are managed by a schedule that belongs to the crew. The bar inverts this entirely. It gives first-class passengers somewhere to go, something to do that is genuinely social. The flight becomes less like a transit experience and more like an evening that happens to be moving through the sky. Passengers on 14-hour routes report spending hours at the bar across the course of a flight, meeting other travelers, holding business conversations, or simply enjoying the surreal experience of drinking a glass of champagne while the sun sets over the Atlantic and the aircraft continues east into darkness. But the product that perhaps most clearly separates Emirates First Class from everything below it is not the suite, the shower, or the bar. It is the approach to food. In economy class, the crew decides when you eat. The meal service begins when it begins. You take what is available, on the schedule provided, served in the packaging it arrives in. This is not a criticism. It is simply the reality of feeding 400 people at altitude with a finite crew. The logistics require a system. The system requires uniformity. In Emirates First Class, there is no system in that sense. There is a menu, and there is a kitchen, and there is a crew, and you eat when you want. The dine-on-demand system means exactly what it says. First-class passengers request their meals at the time of their choosing. If you board a night flight and want to sleep immediately, your dinner waits. If you wake up at hour 9 and want a full 3-course breakfast at 2 in the morning by your home time zone, the crew prepares it. The menu is not bound to the flight's meal schedule because there is no flight meal schedule for first class. The meal schedule is yours. The menus are curated by Michelin-starred chefs and rotated by route and season. A passenger flying Dubai to New York does not eat the same menu as a passenger flying Dubai to Sydney. The food changes. This is not marketing language. The routes have different passenger demographics, different culinary expectations, different durations, and the menus reflect that. Emirates employs a team of culinary consultants whose job is to engineer food that works at altitude, where cabin pressure suppresses taste perception by up to 30%, and still delivers the experience of a restaurant. On select long-haul routes, the menu includes caviar service as standard, not as an upgrade, not as an additional request, as part of what arrives when you open the menu. Caspian caviar, served chilled with traditional accompaniments on an aircraft. And every meal, regardless of what is ordered, arrives on hand-painted porcelain plates, with real silver cutlery, on a pressed linen tablecloth laid across the suite's table by a crew member before service. The detail of the tablecloth matters more than it might appear. It is the signal that what follows is not catering, it is a meal. The personal screen in each first-class suite measures 32 inches. When Emirates first introduced it, this was the largest personal entertainment screen ever installed on a passenger aircraft. Larger than the televisions in many hotel rooms. Larger than many home screens in use at the same period. It is touch-controlled, responsive, and connected to the ICE entertainment system. ICE, which stands for Information, Communication and Entertainment, gives each passenger access to over 4,500 channels. Films, television series, music, podcasts, games, live news and flight information. The breadth of the system means that on a 17-hour flight, a passenger could watch content continuously without repeating anything. The library is updated regularly and varies by route. The onboard Wi-Fi on Emirates A380 aircraft consistently tests at speeds that match or exceed the broadband connections in most hotels. Business travelers on Emirates First Class regularly conduct video calls, run presentations, and manage live work during flights. The connection is not a courtesy feature with a 10 megabyte daily limit. It is a working internet connection at altitude. But perhaps the most quietly remarkable piece of technology in the Emirates First Class cabin is one that most passengers take for granted without realizing what they are looking at. The A380's upper deck has 14 suites, but the aircraft's fuselage geometry means that not all of them sit next to an actual window. Some inner suites have no external window at all. Emirates solved this problem in a way that most passengers find genuinely unsettling when they first understand it. Those suites have virtual windows, screens installed in the position a window would occupy, connected to live camera feeds mounted on the aircraft's exterior. The image is high definition, full color, real time. You look at your window and you see exactly what is outside the aircraft at that moment. Clouds below, stars above, the faint curvature of the Earth on the horizon. The camera captures it live. The screen displays it live. You are not looking at a photograph. You are not looking at a screensaver. You are watching the world from the outside of an aircraft you are sitting inside, in real time. It is a technically elegant solution to a structural constraint. And most passengers in those suites never realize the window is not a window. A first-class ticket from Dubai to New York on Emirates costs, depending on the date and booking class, between $15,000 and $22,000. One way. That is the published fare for a single seat. It is an extraordinary amount of money by any measure outside of private aviation. And yet the cabin fills. On many routes, it fills months in advance. The seats sell. But here is the detail that changes the picture significantly. Emirates sells approximately 60% of its first-class seats at the full published fare. The remaining 40% are filled through upgrades and frequent flyer miles redemptions. Emirates Skywards Miles, the airline's loyalty currency, can unlock first-class redemptions. And the Emirates first-class cabin is widely considered the most aspirational award redemption in commercial aviation. Frequent flyers accumulate miles specifically to access this product, sometimes over years. The profile of who actually occupies those 14 suites is worth understanding. A significant proportion are corporate travelers, executives whose companies pay for first class on long-haul routes because the cost of the ticket is lower than the cost of an executive arriving at a destination exhausted and unable to perform. At the level of senior leadership, a $20,000 seat on a 14-hour overnight flight is a straightforward business calculation. The traveler arrives rested, showered, fed, and ready. The flight is not lost time. It is productive time inside a mobile office with a bed. Others are leisure travelers for whom this flight is the trip itself. the experience they have been planning, saving for, or redeeming miles toward for years. For this group, the price is not incidental. It is the point. The scarcity, 14 suites, limited availability, routes that sell out, is part of what makes it worth the journey to experience. Which brings us to the question that matters most. Why does Emirates keep investing in this? The answer is not sentiment. Emirates is not a heritage airline maintaining a legacy product out of brand tradition. It is one of the most commercially aggressive aviation operations in the world, and every decision about its product has a financial logic behind it. Dubai International Airport is the world's busiest international hub by international passenger traffic. Emirates is the airline that built its entire network around the Dubai hub model, connecting passengers from every corner of the world through a single point. London to Sydney via Dubai, New York to Mumbai via Dubai, Nairobi to Tokyo via Dubai. Hundreds of routes, all flowing through one airport. In that model, Emirates competes not just on price and schedule, but on experience. A business traveller choosing between Emirates and a competitor on a 14-hour route is not just choosing between two aircraft. They are choosing between two experiences. The first-class product, the suite, the shower, the bar, the food, is part of why they choose Emirates. And once they choose Emirates for first class, they tend to travel Emirates across other routes, in other classes, building loyalty that sustains the broader network. The financial arithmetic of first class is stark. The profit margin on a first-class seat is estimated at roughly 10 times the margin on an economy seat. 14 suites, occupying a portion of the upper deck, generate revenue per square metre that no other part of the aircraft can match. The product is not just a prestige offering. It is a disproportionate contributor to the flight's overall profitability. Emirates has ordered 115 new Airbus A380 aircraft. In an era when most airlines are moving away from the A380 towards smaller, more flexible twin-engine jets, Emirates is moving in the opposite direction. The airline has publicly committed to the A380 as the core of its long-haul fleet for the foreseeable future. That commitment is, in part, a commitment to the first-class product, because the A380 is the aircraft that makes the suites, the showers, and the bar physically possible. And the market has responded. Emirates has won the Skytrax World's Best First Class Award 9 consecutive years, not 9 times total. 9 consecutive years. No other airline has maintained that consistency. The award is voted on by travellers who have experienced the product. The results reflect what passengers actually believe, not what the airline claims. Emirates First Class is not the most expensive airline product in the world. There are carriers with higher published fares. It is not the rarest. Private aviation exists. It is not the longest flight or the most exotic route. What it is the most complete reimagination of what a commercial flight can be. The suite closes. The bed unfolds. The shower runs. The bar opens. The caviar arrives on porcelain. The virtual window shows you the Earth from the edge of the atmosphere. And 500 people below you sleep in their seats and land in the same city, on the same aircraft, having had an experience so different from yours that the only thing you shared was the runway. Emirates did not build a better seat. They built a different question. The question is not, how do we make a long flight more comfortable? The question is, what if a 14-hour flight was something a passenger would not want to end? And 9 years in a row, the answer has been the same. If you want to see how the aircraft that makes this possible, the Airbus A380, compares to the Boeing 747 and why one of them survived while the other is being retired, that is exactly what the next video covers. The real reason one of aviation's greatest rivalries ended the way it did. That one goes up on May 17th.